But that's enough of the U.S. Let's talk about Mexico. Mexico are atrocious. Mexico is in a terrible place right now. Mexico is lost, man. It's so sad to see this national team play the way how terrible they look on the field. The coach is lost. The players are lost. The fans are finally waking up and not going to the games. Not gonna lie, I'm a hypocrite because I didn't get tickets to see them in the Gold Cup. I don't know if I'm gonna go because like the performance that they're putting on display is not worth supporting. It's like they have to get the message. They have to see that the fans are fed up because it's ridiculous. Like it's really ridiculous. Mexico's such a proud country too. Soccer, football is it's like their number one passion. You go anywhere in Mexico, that's all they want to do. They want to talk about soccer. They want to play soccer. They want to. It's crazy. And now they've fallen behind the U.S. They've probably fallen behind Canada too. And the future looks very very bleak. Like the fact that Ochoa is still being relied as the goalkeeper, and nothing against Ochoa. I'm a big Ochoa fan, and I think he's a legend, and I think he has balls of steel for going to Italy at the age of 36, 37, just to, continue to live out his European dream playing in Europe. I think that's amazing. I think he's a leader. I think more Mexican players should follow his lead and leave, the comfortable lifestyle that they have in Mexico with these like inflated wages and super comfortable lifestyle that they have here in Mexico and go try themselves in Europe. I know there's a lot of players that don't get chances, kind of like Linus, and they have to come back. But homie tried, dude. He went there at the age of 18, age 17. He couldn't make it. He couldn't get playing time. His fault or other people's fault, that's for, someone else to decide. But he tried. He went there at 18, came back at 21. Looks to revitalize his career in Mexico and maybe go back. But he went and he tried, man. And I think that's all we could say about our Mexican players. Sometimes they get too comfortable in Mexico. Sometimes the teams ask for too much money and they don't let them go. But this is it's sad, man. As a Mexican national team supporter, as a Mexican, like it's sad to see the national team be this atrocious, this incompetent, this boring, showing such a lack of heart out there. Especially the game against the U.S. left a sour taste in everyone's mouth. Like super super disappointing performance in the football side. Like there was no chances created. I don't think they even got a shot off a shot on goal. Like it's so disappointing seeing the national team not create any chances. And the worst part is they just lost their head and they started just kicking the U.S. men's players and it just became like a brawl fight, like a fight, it just became like I don't even know what it became, but it was embarrassing to watch as a Mexican American, as a Mexican. First and foremost, it was sad. Like if you guys are not gonna perform on the field, like at least have some dignity, at least hold up the Mexican jersey up high, like lose with some class, with some respect. Like they went out swinging and in a bad way. Like a lot of times they say is se murieron de nada, which means like they died of nothing. Like they didn't go out there and really let's put forwards up there. Let's take a center back out. Let's put more midfielders. Let's try to do something. Like we're not just gonna sit back and lose. Like they ended up getting wrecked. 3-0 is a terrible scoreline. They didn't get a shot on target. They never looked dangerous. And then they go and they get red cards and they dirty up the game, and it was just embarrassing. It was embarrassing. I think Coca needs to leave. I never wanted him to be the coach. I think he's over his head. It doesn't look like he knows what he's doing. How the fuck do you start Santi on the bench? He's arguably the best Mexican player right now, and he definitely had the best season out of any Mexican in Europe or even here in Mexico or in the U.S. Like, how is he not starting? Like, he's like, what, 21 years old. He's your biggest prospect. He's your biggest player probably. He's not just your biggest prospect. He's probably your best player too. And you leave him on the bench against the U.S. And I don't get it. I don't get it. Antuna, how does Antuna keep getting playing time? Like, that's insane. I even tweeted about it. I was like, Antuna is going to feed into my delusion that I could have gone pro. Like, some of the plays that he does is just insane. And he's a speed merchant, and They're gonna keep on calling him because he's fast, but his I don't get it. Like there's a lot of players that Mexico needs to let go of, and Coca, I don't know, like two Argentinian head coaches back to back. Like Mexico is a proud football country with lots of good soccer players. Obviously they're not doing that well right now, but I think they could find it in themselves to find a Mexican coach to lead nothing against foreign coaches leading the Mexican national team, but I don't see how you have an Argentinian coach be such a letdown in the World Cup and then you follow it up with another Argentinian head coach. Like I know it's not the same person, but I think the masses and the crowds were calling for a Mexican head coach because it did seem like, I don't know if there's conspiracy theories or anything, but it did look like, the Argentinian head coach kind of Tata Martino kind of sold the Mexican national team with the lineup that he used against Argentina in the World Cup. And it's not confirmed or anything, but like after all that, after all the fans crying and like asking for a Mexican head coach, for them to sign Coca, it was just a slap in the face. And now you see the results. It looks like the locker room's not happy, the fans aren't happy, all the commentators aren't happy, and I'm not happy. No one's happy, dude. No one's happy seeing this Mexican national team play. No one's happy. Like it sucks. And it sucks that, us, I mean, obviously it sucks for everyone in Mexico, everywhere. But as a Mexican American, one of the few times that we get to feel super Mexican is when we see the national team play here in the U.S. It's a fun time being able to put the Mexican jersey on and go to a game and see your football heroes live and in person, and especially in a official match. Like usually you get the friendlies and it's not the same. There's like 1,000 subs and you don't get to experience like the real atmosphere. But to see them in a competitive match, I was really excited to see them at the Gold Cup, and I might still go, but it feels like they don't deserve it. Like the fans really do need to send a message. Yesterday they did at the Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. Like it's crazy how empty it was. But what can they do? I mean, first of all, they need to fire Coca. Then he needs to go. He looks incompetent. The lineup selections are just gonna make me pull my hair. Or there needs to be some changes in the federation. Like the way they run things is not working. They just look at it too much as a business and not as what it is, which is first and foremost, it's about football. It's about putting a good product out there, investing in the youth, putting a product that the fans could be proud of, instead of just, we're Mexicans. There's a lot of Mexicans in the U.S. Let's have all these tournaments in the U.S. We'll collect dollars. Or jersey sales are always going to be good. We're always going to qualify to the World Cup because we're in a pretty weak region. So, and we get 4 spots in this region for the World Cup. So we're always going to make the World Cup. The fans are always going to be there to support. They're always going to, dump money into the national team. We're always going to be rolling in money. It's good. Like, who cares if we don't, improve the product? Who cares if we don't invest in our youth national team? Who cares if we don't invest in the academies? And who cares if we don't export players to Europe and grow our football program as a whole? Who cares? Like, we're still rolling in dough. We're still collecting dollars. We're still going to make the World Cup. We're still going to get these massive TV deals. Like, man, it's so sad. Like, Mexico, with the population that it has, with soccer, with football being the number one sport in the country, with these pretty prestigious soccer teams, football teams in their league, like Chivas, America, with a lot of history, like Mexico should be better by now. And the fact that it's not, it's pretty sad. And I think this is as close to rock bottom as I've seen the Mexican national team play. Like there's been some rock bottom times in my life, like with Hugo Sanchez missing the Olympics, and that team missing like 100 chances against Haiti back in the day. That was the low point. That looked like it couldn't get worse than that. It was like, how does this team with Ochoa and all these players not make the Olympics? Like, this was like our golden generation at that point. For them to not make the Olympics, that was super sad. And That's the main reason Hugo Sanchez got fired. And then after that, it was like, bro, we almost missed the World Cup in 2014. Like, that was dark times. It looked like it could never get worse than that. And then just last year in the World Cup, you know, limping into the World Cup, terrible football in display, terrible World Cup outing, like not making it to the next round. At that point, you think, okay, this is rock bottom. We really didn't make it to the next round for the first time in like forever. And then they signed Coca and they put this pathetic product on the field against the U.S. and very stale game against Panama too. And you're like, okay, this is rock bottom. Like, this is terrible. This is horrible. But you know, this is the first time I really see the fans turn on the national team. Like, that stadium was empty. That stadium was fucking empty. So hopefully the federation takes notice. Hopefully CONCACAF takes notice. Hopefully, you know, something gets done, because like I said, Mexico is a proud football country, and for them to look this bad, embarrassing, and it can't keep going.